Well, I'm back. Black Dude 3456. If that's what I'm still going to be called on YouTube for another video. It's been a few years, but I kind of just got the inspiration today to try something new. So I'm going to be possibly starting a series or just one episode doing something I'm going to be calling mediocre multitasking, where I take two things I'm already only decent at and try and do both of them at the same time. I have a few cool ideas, but for this first one, I'm going to speedrun Celeste, which I don't know any of the speedrun tech for, but I've done it a couple of times on my own just for fun. Um, and I'm also going to make a tier list of every character in Blood on the Clocktower at the same time. My rules for this are going to be that I cannot move on to the next character in my talking until it's physically placed on the tier list. I need to give my reasons for each choice, and I need to say the character's ability before I place them. I also am aiming to finish both runs within 5 minutes of each other, and I cannot end Celeste run until all my characters are done. And my goal is to not be last on the leaderboard, but that's like 10 hours, so that's going to be fine. As for the tier list, my criteria are going to be for the townsfolk. How good are they for the good team? Are they fun to play as or have in the game? And do they feel too bad for the evil team? Outsiders, how harmful are they to the good team? And are they fun to have in the game slash play? For minions, are they fun to play as? Are they enjoyable to work around as good? Are they powerful for the evil team? Demons, are they fun to play as? Are they fun to figure out as good? Are they versatile and survivable? And otherwise, it's just gonna kind of be where I want. I mean, this is mostly gonna be personal opinion, not like power level too much. So, anyway, without further ado, I guess I'm gonna start. So I've got the speedrun timer stuff, and I looked at the rules. So let's get started. I'm going to begin actually doing the Blood and the Clocktower stuff once the prologue starts. Uh, I've sped run this before, and I've done about an hour 45, I think. So we'll aim for not too much slower than there, but I'm pretty rusty. It's been a while. Anyway, I guess we should probably start. Okay, so the Bounty Hunter, what do I think about that? Their ability is that every night, well, not every night, they learn one evil character at the start of the game. When that evil character dies, they learn another. And by character, I mean player. Sorry, not character. They learn what player is evil at the start of the game. Just one of them. And if that player dies, then they learn another one. They have a huge downside, though, of adding a evil townsfolk, um, which is pretty massive. And sometimes storytellers use that to make the bounty hunter themselves evil, or the bounty hunter will be like drunk or so on and so forth. And that can be brutally painful. So I think overall, it adds a lot of interesting stuff to the game, but I'm only going to put it in A because I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It can really screw over the good team as well. Okay, Butler. The Butler, wow, we're getting this one out of the way early. As far as outsiders go, how harmful is it to the good team? Barely any. Is it fun to play the Butler? Not really. Is it fun to have the Butler in the game? No. I like the joke that the Butler's true ability is you start knowing there's a Baron in play. Okay, moving on. I've also never seen Butler on a custom script. The Cannibal. Well, this is quite a jump up from the Butler. The Cannibal is... Man, I'm already getting distracted in Celeste. Awful movement. The Cannibal is really good. I mean, like, huge. Of course... oh man, I already broke one of my rules. I didn't say what the Butler does. The Butler's ability is, each night they pick a player to be their master. They can only vote if that player voted. So, yeah, that's that. Okay, the Cannibal's ability is that you have the ability of the most recently executed player, but if that player was evil, then you're poisoned, so that the storyteller can simulate you having whatever they were bluffing and really screw with your info. it's really good. Obviously, you need to get around that poison part, but otherwise, it can really help confirm good players to an extent. And it can just give you huge info. I think that's an easy S tier. I've never gotten to play the Cannibal, but I'd love to actually play it sometime. Oops. Okay, the Ceranovis, our first minion. The Ceranovis is a really cool minion. Some people absolutely hate it, but I think it's interesting. Let's see, what were my minion stuff? Dang, every time I look away, I die. Are they fun to play as? Yes, absolutely. They're very trolly and hilarious. Are they enjoyable to work around as the good team? For the most part, yeah. Some players really hate the Ceranovis, but I think in general they can lead to some funny situations, and people don't usually end the game that upset about it. Are they powerful for the evil team? Yes, you can lock people in their info and just prevent info from traveling through town. I mean, it can be brutal. I'm going to put them in A, just because some people really hate Madness, but I think they're pretty good. I'll move it later. We'll see. Oh my gosh, I broke it again. The Ceranovis' ability is that they pick a player each night, and then they pick a character, and that player has to be mad about being that character or they might be executed. Okay. Chambermaid. I have not gotten to play as the Chambermaid, but I have a personal distaste for it. Let's see. How good are they for the good team? Pretty good. They're pretty good. I mean, they can learn really powerful information. Their ability, I'm saying it now, their ability is every night pick two players and learn how many of them woke up. This is really good because it can be used to find the demon or find minions that are bluffing stuff that they're not doing. That's the part I dislike about it, though, is it reminds me too much of how Investigator feels in Town of Salem 1, where you start restricting what players are allowed to bluff as just because a character's in play. I find that really annoying. I've never played really against it or played as it, but I still find that annoying. So, do they feel too bad for the evil team? In my opinion, a little bit. Are they fun to play as? Sure. How good are they for the good team? Pretty good. I don't want to put them in A. I'm putting them in B on personal opinion because I find them really annoyingly restrictive for the evil team. And you have to play around it even if there's not one in play. Man, it is hard to focus on Celeste and this at the same time. Okay, what's next? The chef? Oh, okay, that's a basic one. I'm gonna say it first. The chef's ability is, at the start of the game, learn how many pairs of evil players there are. This is really good. If you don't get poison sniped and you're not the drunk, that little piece of info ends up being a piece of info. Oh, dang it. Ends up being a piece of info that people, like, are basing their entire game around. Like, it's, oh, does this world fit the chef number? Does this fit the chef number? And sure, people are going to question if you're poisoned at some point, but, like, in general, yeah, in general, you can really run a game. My one game I've played as Spy, I bluffed Chef, and it changed the entire game. Easy A tier for me. I'm just going to die here so I can place this. Okay, I'm not placing them in any specific order on there. Okay, King and Choir Boy. Oh yeah, this list is mostly random, but I did put these two next to each other, just so we can talk about them at the same time. The King's ability is, once half of players are dead, I could be wrong about the exact number here. People run it different ways sometimes. I believe it's once half of players are dead. That might be the altered version though. You learn a in-play living character. That's really powerful, but the problem is that the demon knows who you are from the start of the game. But then they get the Choir Boy with them, whose ability is, if the king dies, then you learn the demon if you're alive, which is really good if you're still alive. they're really cool in concept, but I think honestly, usually the demon has figured out if there's a choir boy or not by then, and by the time the king starts getting info, and has either killed them off already or killed the king just because there isn't one. I don't know. You know what I'm saying. I feel like I always get excited when they're around, but I've never seen them be that good. So I'm gonna give them... I gotta put them together because they're so commonly paired and they are so intertwined. I'm gonna put them both in B, above chambermaid, because I hate chambermaid. And I just said they aren't ordered. My bad. Clockmaker. This is honestly just like the chef. I think that they are pretty equal in power level, I would say. On one hand, the chef... Oh, Clockmaker. At the start of the game, learn how many steps the demon is away from their closest minion. On one hand, the chef lets you place the whole evil team, but you have no deduction of who the demon is. Whereas the Clockmaker can help you better deduce where a demon might be if you're confident someone's a minion. I don't know. I think it's A tier. It also just tends to run the game, and it's really good in S&V because it's a good Vortox fodder. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw it right there next to the chef. Again, not ordered. Yeah, that's how I feel about the Clockmaker. When I ran my first in-person game with a Clockmaker, one of my players drew Mutant and tried to bluff Clockmaker, and they thought it meant physical steps, so they were giving people a Clockmaker 6 in a 9-player game because they thought it was how many steps you had to walk in person to your nearest minion, which I find hilarious. Right, I gotta just jump on this. Darn it. Courtier. Their ability is once per game, pick a character. That character is drunk for 3 days. I don't know how to feel about it because I feel like nobody puts this character on any custom scripts, and I don't know if I've ever seen it run, like ever, which is kind of crazy. Courtier. What? How do I feel about it? I don't know, because I just don't have much experience with it. It can be pretty powerful, but you can also just straight up miss and hit not... Like, you're obviously trying to hit evil, right? But you have to figure out a minion in play before then. You have to then live to continue drunkening them, and you have to actually get an evil correct. And also, I think it's really annoying to drunk the demon for 3 days. I think that's kind of rough, especially if it's put on a script where the demon is more figure-outable. Like, it's on BMR where, I don't know, I feel like if it's like Shabaloth or something, then rip Shabaloth, you know? But I could be totally wrong. I'm just gonna put it in B. Above chambermaid. Cult leader. Cult leader. Man, I suck at Celeste when I'm thinking about Blood on the Clocktower. Oh my gosh. Cult leader is a character. Wow. I am awful right now. This is embarrassing. I'm gonna have to have a speedrun moderator check this. Okay, let's not mess this up. Okay. Cult leader has the ability, I'm gonna say that now. Every day you may call for a cult vote. Yeah, I guess I didn't need that strawberry. If all good players vote on your cult, your team wins. But your team is... Why am I going for strawberries all of a sudden? I'm so stupid. But your team can change each night. It's based on one of your neighbors. Obviously, that's not the exact wording, but... I think Cult Leader is annoying. I think that Cult Leader wins almost never happen. I think that they are unsatisfying in general. I don't think they're very satisfying when they do happen. I think that Cult Leader is a recipe for your game taking 40 minutes longer than it needed to because everybody's bluffing it every day. Yeah, and I just don't think it does much. And it's not a great townsfolk because it can mean the evil team just wins. Yeah, I'm putting Cult Leader in C for Cult Leader. Oh, so note I skipped D tier. That's not a thing. Wow, I cannot believe I just died to that. Okay, what's next? The Baron. Ooh, man. Minions, are they fun to play as? Yes, because your ability happens at the start of the game and you can just cause whatever chaos you want after that. Want to double claim the fortune teller? Go ahead. Want to double claim the empath? Go ahead. Even if they kill you first, they're going to be just as sus as the other person probably. So, like, you know, I'd say Baron is pretty good just for that because your ability has a setup effect. Is their ability fun in general? No, it's just kind of the fact that you can be chaos. Is their ability really good? Yes. Taking 2 townsfolk out of the game for 2 outsiders is already pretty good in Trouble Brewing, but in custom scripts, it can be devastating. Oh my goodness. I don't remember which order you want to do these. Tell me this isn't the bonus room. Oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. It's gonna look like this is my first time playing Celeste. Well, it's definitely not, but this is gonna look like my first ever speedrun attempt at the game. I haven't played it in quite a while though. What was I saying? The Baron. Oh, their ability is +2 outsiders as a setup effect. That's their whole thing. Yeah, so it's a setup effect, but you get to be chaos and all that. I think they're pretty good. I think some people would put them in S tier. I think some people will have less fun with them because they don't want to be chaos and they would rather have some agency on what they actually do in the game. So solely for that, I'm going to put them in A tier. But yeah, again, not ordered. I just put it next to the other red one because I felt like it. I think they're also fun to figure out as good. Baron worlds are things that the evil team can bluff, and it is interesting to try and figure out whether it's actually Baron or not. Okay, what is next? The Damsel. Damsel is an outsider. Where am I going? Over here. Damsel is an outsider whose ability is minions know you are in play, but they don't know who you are, obviously. Well, obviously based on the next part. The minions know you're in play, but once per game, the minions get 1 collective guess to claim they are minion and guess who you are. And if they are right, they win instantly. I think Damsel is cool. I think Damsel is... I don't know if I've done this route, like this order of things in a long time. This room looks different than usual. I think Damsel is interesting. What are my opinions on it? I almost feel like the Damsel is what the Mutant should be. I like Mutant, but I kind of think that Damsel might just be like an improved Mutant in what it does, because it kind of makes the player bluff stuff. Obviously, if you just get executed, though, you're, like, good. So, in that case, it's not that harmful to the good team, except they do have to waste a whole execution on that. So, I mean, I think the Damsel has high potential to be harmful. If minions catch that somebody that's not a minion is double claiming, and town starts pushing on them, and they're ballsy enough to just guess it, then that can just be it. So, as far as outsiders go, I'm actually going to put the Damsel in A tier. I'm realizing that B tier is characters I don't particularly love. So, I think Damsel's cool. Um, I feel like I do this room first usually. I think it's easier usually. I think I'm doing everything in a different order right now, which is not good. Okay, what's next? The artist. Oh, I love the artist. The artist's ability is once per game, you may ask the storyteller a question. A yes or no question, to be precise. It would be pretty bad if it was just a question, as in way too good. Let's see. I think that the artist is very powerful. It allows huge player... Wow. It allows huge player agency in what kind of... Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. Huge player agency in what question you can ask. I mean, yeah, seriously, there's so many questions you can ask. And I think I love that fact. I love that people can get creative with it. People can cut out half this circle of demons. People can ask if one player's a demon. People can ask whatever, right? But there's always the risk that the longer you hold on to it, you might die, you might be poisoned, you might be Vortox can always be a thing, right? There isn't a poisoner on that script, but you might die. It's a very cool role. Honestly, S tier for me. I think the artist is very good. I'm not a huge fan of some of the generic artist questions. I don't really like the Vortox check artist. I think that's kind of lame, and I'd rather deduce it from other things. Or more, it just feels like people pressure you to use it that way, and then that's your artist question, and that's the whole thing, but I don't know. Okay, Devil's Advocate. This is a hard one. On one hand, I think it's pretty good. On the other hand, it's... How do I feel about it? I hate the back and forth of did a Devil's Advocate cause this, did a T-Lady cause this, yada yada yada. But that's part of the game and it is fun. I mean, that's just BMR for you. I'm not the biggest fan of BMR, but I think the rules are cool. I did get to play Devil's Advocate once, and it was pretty fun, and I bluffed Pacifist, and it worked. I think it's a cool role. I think it's very powerful. I hate it in conjunction with Little Monster, but other than that, I think it's pretty powerful, and yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. I think I'm gonna just put it in... I think I'm just gonna put it in A tier. I promise there's gonna be less A tiers as we go on. Oh, Devil Advocate ability. Why am I going this way? Devil Advocate's ability is once per game. Not once per game. That's stupid. Every night you pick a player and that player cannot die to execution the next day. This isn't like announced or anything. It's just people may die from, or may be executed and then not die. I remember that I hate this room, especially when I don't have brain power. Okay. Boom. Okay. Speedrun tech. Okay. Yeah. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Oh, and you can't pick the same player twice in a row. But protecting the demon on the last day if you're still around, confusing the heck out of people, it can be rough to play against. I think it's really good though, and it can be fun to figure out. Dreamer. Ooh, this is a hard one to place. Dreamer is very powerful. Like really powerful. But I think that it can really crush the evil team if you hit any of the evil players on night one. Which, I mean, that's just how it is, right? Some roles like Snake Charmer and stuff do that too. I think that brings it down a bit. I also think it gets much weaker as the game goes on, because as bluffs are solidified, the storyteller knows how to... Wow, I cannot hit this diagonal for some reason. Hello? Is the diagonal input working? I'm going this way. The storyteller knows what you're bluffing more, Oh, the Dreamer's ability is every night pick a player, learn one evil character and one good character. They are one of them. Yeah, it's very powerful at the start, and it can be very generally confirmable if there's no spy or anything in the game. Oh my gosh. I need to hold this different, apparently. I'm really missing these diagonals. Yeah. I think that in power, it's probably an S tier, but I think that in general, being fun to have around, I think it can be too harsh on the evil team, and I think that it is a little too easy to play. I don't know, and be confirmed. So I'm gonna put it in. No, it's S tier. It's just S tier. It's really good. And you can get around it. I mean, you can, you know, you get called out as a minion, you just change and say, oh, I was just trying to hide that I was that, I am that, and yada yada yada. There is counterplay. You just have to know that it's there and be ready. Okay, what's next? The drunk. You think you are a townsfolk, you are not, as an outsider. This character is hilarious. Probably one of the, maybe even the community favorite in the entire game. I think this character is amazing to have on a script. It's great to have a hidden outsider on scripts. I think that makes a huge difference for outsider count. It is funny to find out at the end of the game that you're the drunk. It's not that upsetting, usually. Sometimes it can be. Yeah, I mean, the drunk is just like, as far as outsiders go, I think it's quintessential S tier because it is funny to be, it is fun to have in the game, it is very harmful to the good team, it is very good for the evil team to have around for their bluffs and for how they play. I mean, it's just S tier, like top of S tier. Great character. It's part of what makes Blood on the Clocktower Blood on the Clocktower. Okay, the Boom Dandy. If you are executed, I don't think it's if you die by execution. I think. If you are executed, all but 3 players die. Whichever player has the most people pointing at them in a minute also dies. Interesting character. It's kind of hard to trigger, it feels, because people are constantly wary of it existing if it's on a script. Yeah, I don't know. It's in between. I also think that if you're playing online, it is rough to have present. I've played one game with a Boom Dandy and I accidentally nominated them, and I was left as one of the 3 remaining players, and I felt that I could not get a single word in that conversation, and I had 9 people pointing at me at the end of it, which was rough. I think in person it would be more fun because everybody can actually yell over each other and it's not on Discord. It's very dramatic and funny. Yeah, I don't know. But is it good for the evil team? Not necessarily. It can kind of incite a showdown that the evil team didn't prepare for because the demon's not the one controlling the kills and the storyteller doesn't always know what's been set up. It can definitely just end in the evil team losing. I think as a minion ability, it's just too much of a mixed bag. I'm going to put it in B tier. Yeah. The Amnesiac. Their ability is you don't know your ability. Every day you may ask the storyteller in private a question about your ability, and they give you a warm, cold bingo. The Amnesiac is great. I want to be the Amnesiac in a game so bad. Some people hate it, but I don't care. I want to be an Amnesiac in the game. Today I just watched Patter's video where there was a drunk Amnesiac and he just told them egg at the start of the game, and that was all they got all game. That's pretty funny. but that's the drunk though. The amnesiac is great. I mean, the power is generally pretty powerful. It's just, I just think it's really fun to play as. It can often make you a star character of the game, and it can often be very powerful. If you die early, then I mean, it's just like any other S tier character if you die early, right? If you die early as the cannibal, you also don't get to do anything. So, you know, there's not much difference there, I think. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's going in S tier mostly on my personal opinion, but I also think that it can be incredibly good. Am I supposed to go that way again? Oh yeah, dang it, there's an arrow there. Yeah, I haven't played this in a while. Okay, Empath. Oh man, Empath is great. Empath's ability is every night you learn how many of your neighbors are evil. That is not only incredibly powerful info, but it is not like extreme info, like the Dreamer, where it can really just call out a minion on day one. It can be, you know, it can always be poisoned, it can always be drunk, but a lot of it is figuring out if you have a 1, which one is it, you know? And 0s are powerful because they give you people to trust, and 2s are powerful because you never trust them ever, even if they're true. Yeah. Oh man, I can't place them. Oh, okay, I died. Empath is an S tier, for sure. I think it's very good to have, and I think it's very versatile and just generally usually provides good info no matter what game. Alchemist. That's a interesting role. Man, Alchemist is a character, alright. Their ability is at the start of the game, you learn a out of play minion, and you have their ability. Wow, they sure do. I don't even know what to think. I feel like personally, alchemists are never trusted. Often a minion ability is not helpful unless you give them like Scarlet Woman or like Poisoner, or if they somehow get Goblin and convince the good team to actually kill them off of it. I don't know. I think most of them are harmful, and it doesn't like confirm them. It just makes people think they're a minion. So, controversial opinion, I'm putting Alchemist in B tier. No, I'm putting it in A, because half the time it is extremely powerful. And probably less than half of the time. But the rest of the time it's pretty bad, I think. But, you know, if you're the Alchemist Assassin, who cares if people don't believe you, because you still get to kill somebody, right? I don't know. Engineer. Is it up here? I always forget. Engineer is... I mean, Engineer is you get... Your ability is once per game, you can choose what the demon is or what the minions are. That's pretty dang good. Especially in the early game, obviously. Because you get to... I mean, you just get to dictate what the evil team is. Oh, darn it. But how good are they? I mean, it's pretty easily bluffable because the evil team can just out what they are. Darn it. I need to think ahead. Not just about this. But... Oh, right. Crap. Oh my gosh. I'm too busy thinking about the engineer to do this. Okay. It's powerful. Oh my goodness. It's powerful. But, it can also be bluffed. I mean, can't everything, you know? These are like rushed opinions. Yeah, okay, it's actually pretty good. It's pretty good. It's a nice ability to have. You kind of one and done, but then if you're actually the engineer, you know what the evil team is for the rest of the game. So that's pretty crazy. Or you know what a good chunk of them are. Yeah. Oh man, this is a long room. I can't place this roll until I get to the end of it. I'm gonna put an A tier. I don't think it's ass. Balloonist. Oh man, Balloonist is a tough one. Balloonist, you learn every night one player. Across the course of the game, you will learn a townsfolk, a minion, a demon, and an outsider, but in it, whatever order the storyteller deems you to be learning them. Yeah, the Balloonist gets huge info. Oh, also they have a setup ability of +1 outsider, which harms the good team. You get pretty good info as the Balloonist. However, if you are ever poisoned, it can really screw over your info and make the puzzle really hard to solve. You also have to live until day 4. So you kind of have to bluff not Balloonist for like most of the game. Day 4 is really late in. Some people think it's worthless if you die before day 4. I don't think that's true. If you die after 3 nights of info, then you still learn 3 characters or 3 players, and you know that they're all different things, which is really huge info. I really want to put it in S tier because it's fun, but it's just too susceptible to poison, and it also adds an outsider, so I'm gonna just have to put it in A tier. I think it's really good for the game, though. I think it's really fun to have around. I think it's fun to be, even though I haven't been it before. You know, I think it's a great role. A good chunk of this tier list is not about power. It's about, is it a great role? You know, game-wise. Evil Twin. Your ability is, at the start of the game, you are paired with a good... Oh, dang it. You are paired with a good twin. That player learns that you're the evil twin, and you learn what character they are. And your ability is also that good cannot win until one of you is dead. And if the good twin is executed while you're alive, obviously, then the good team just loses, which is pretty big. Power-wise, it's pretty good. Evil Twin can completely, like, dictate a whole game, how it's gonna go. Like, Evil Twin kind of becomes the center of focus once it's going. But with a lot of roles on SMV, it can be too easy to figure it out. If there is a Vortox in play, that can help, but, like, if there's not a Vortox, you can just use stuff like Artist and Town Crier. Town Crier is a lot harder because other people could be nominating, right? But Artist and stuff can just deduce it. And if a storyteller's not being careful, then stuff like Dreamer can as well. But a good storyteller should be able to avoid that. Yeah, I think that Evil Twin is fine. The main downside of it, especially online when you don't really personally know people, is that if you are in the good twin or evil twin pair, you kind of just become excluded from all conversation. People go, well, there's a 50% chance you're evil, so I'm not going to talk to you. And that's really unfortunate. I think in person that can be fixed a little because people want to hang out with people, and I don't know. They start to build trust, but still, even after, like, yeah, I think that's, I'm gonna put it in, I really like it, but I'm gonna put it in B tier, because I think, as far as the game is concerned, it really gets people excluded. Exorcist. Your ability is every night, pick a player. If you pick the demon, they do not wake tonight, which means they don't kill somebody, but they learn that you picked them, and they learn who you are, so they can kill you. Wait, what do I do in here again? Oh, yeah, I remember. Man, this level's a bit of a maze. It's my favorite level, but it's been a while, and I'm doing this, so... yeah, I think that's a really powerful ability. I think that the demon learning who you are is important because it means they can prevent you from doing it again. But I think that it's hard. Dang. It's hard because it's like, well, sure, you can kill them, but then I feel like they know why deaths didn't happen and they know that they were killed for a reason, and I don't know, it just makes them more suspicious of you. But if deaths don't happen, they're just going to pick you again. It's good in BMR when there's other reasons people can die. Yeah, in the context of a script like BMR, I think it's pretty cool. And I think it's powerful. It can be fun to bluff when you miss a kill as the demon. I saw that happen the other day. Well, it was actually the lunatic doing it, but they thought they missed a kill. um, yeah, yeah, I'll give it A tier. I think it's more play aroundable than the chambermaid. Well, you know what I mean. What is next? The Fangu. Oh, I think this is my favorite demon, so that probably says where it's going. The Fangu, their ability is obviously kill a player each night. Is this our first demon? It is. Kill a player each night. The first time this game, Fangu targets a outsider, that outsider becomes the Fangu, and the Fangu dies. Speedrunner tech there. I think that is a really cool ability. It means you can bring in a fourth evil in a 12-player game. It means that you can escape if you need to. I think the only downside of it is that I commonly see, and this has happened the one time I've been Fangu, that if Fangu hits an outsider on accident on day 1, oh, also part of their ability is +1 outsider. That's important to note. And then they just jump. And then that player is actually playing the Fangu, and you're playing a dead guy that is on the evil team, which is less fun. But I think that if you can avoid that happening night 1, then it can be pretty powerful. I'm putting it in S tier. I think it's super fun to be around. I think it really drives town's conversation a lot of that dead people are not always trusted. I think it's really interesting. Man, we're on level 5 already, and we have a lot to go. By the way, we're not doing the Fabled or the Travelers. I put those all at the bottom of the list. I just took those all out. Some it's really long, but I thought this game took me like an hour and a half. I think it does. So hopefully I can get through these all. The Farmer. Your ability is... if you are killed at night by the demon, I think by the demon, not just killed at night. It could just be killed at night, though. I don't remember. Then another good player becomes the Farmer. I am in between about this ability. I think that it's cool to become a farmer because you are now confirmed. I think that losing the ability you had is annoying. I like characters like this that are trying to bait the demon into attacking them. I think they make the demon have to pick much more carefully. So I think that's really interesting. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty good. I think it's also a fun bluff when you're like Fangu or Imp, and you can bluff that you were the farmer and one of your minions became the farmer, or the person you just star passed to, or the character you just jumped to as the Fangu. I think that's pretty crazy. Yeah, you know, I do like it actually. I'm gonna put it in A tier, along with apparently everything. After I get out of this room, balls. Okay, we'll put it in A tier now. Okay, I believe that's the Fearmonger. He's kind of blobby on here. The Fearmonger. His ability is each night you pick a player, and if you nominate and execute them the next day, their team loses. Which means you have to pick a good player if you want to win off of your ability. I think the Fearmonger is, yeah, it's okay. Oh, also, everybody knows there's a Fearmonger in play, and if you change your pick, then it is announced that the pick has changed. So, I'm not a big fan of the Fearmonger because similar to the Evil Twin, I think it has a lot of potential, but people that know what they're doing really just play around it. The counterplay to Fearmonger is anytime somebody wants to nominate somebody, make somebody else do it. Make the most trusted player do it. Yada yada yada. And sometimes the Fearmonger can get in on that, and I think it can be interesting. I don't think it's C tier, but I think it's B tier. I don't think it's that good. Yeah, I don't think it's that good. It can win games. I just think it is, yeah. I gotta remember where to go in this level. Thankfully, I just played this level for fun, like, a couple days ago, which is my only delving into Celeste in a while. Do I have to hit this? I don't remember. Alright, what's next while I'm getting into these intense stuff? Oh, Fisherman. Your ability is, once per game, you may privately during the day ask the storyteller for advice. I think this ability is hilarious and really fun and cool. I have to decide whether... No, I did put on my criteria. Most importantly, where do I want to put them? I love the Fisherman. I think that storytellers can give super creative advice. And it can really lead to some interesting plays. I really like that storytellers tend to make the advice more powerful the longer the Fisherman held onto it, but of course if you die, then it's gone and you're not getting it. That's really interesting. Yeah, I think that some people will disagree, but I think the Fisherman's S tier. I just love the Fisherman. I think it's super cool. I want to be it. I haven't been it. I want to run it, but my group's not ready for customs yet in person. And I've never run one in the online server, so yeah, I think it's really cool. We'll get there someday. Nice bounce. Wow. Okay, Flower Girl. Ooh, this is a controversial one for me. Flower Girl is really powerful, but I don't like the way that... I don't like characters that control how people act much. The Flower Girl is very powerful, but it makes people get very prissy about how everyone votes and makes people feel like they have to dictate who's allowed to vote when and where. And for the first few days, sometimes groups can be extremely controlling about who's allowed to vote, and you're suspicious if you don't follow exactly what they want, and yada yada yada. I think it's very powerful. The Flower Girl's ability, by the way, hopefully I haven't missed saying one of the abilities yet. I probably have. The Flower Girl's ability is each night you learn if the demon voted. This is pretty interesting on a script that has Vortox, of course, and of course it can be bluffed and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's a good ability. It's powerful, and it gives very good info to town, and it can really be the difference at the end of the game. It's interesting when stuff like Fangu could screw with the information. What are you doing in this room again? Oh, you make him hit this top block, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, and it's the bottom one, though. A nice one. Well, there is no bottom one. It's just a spring. Alright, come here, buddy. I know you can dash up. Oh my gosh. Come on. There we go. Bonk. Okay. Yeah, I'll put it in A tier. I think it's... No. This is my personal opinion list. I'm putting it in B tier because I want to balance it. I feel like It's S or A in power, but I am not a big fan of how it is played. I think it can also... I also don't like how it limits what the demon's allowed to do. It's not as bad as the Chambermaid in that way at all, but I don't know. I think that Town Crier is much more interesting for it, and we'll get to that later. Okay, I'm really slowing down here because I'm talking. Oh, I'm putting it... This is the only ranked one in order. It's the bottom of A tier. It's really good, but yeah. Okay. The Fool. The first time you die, don't. I don't know how to feel about this one. I haven't seen a ton of it because, again, I kind of avoid BMR too much, but the Fool is a ability that is... It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that Evil can bluff it. It's pretty cool that you can bait a demon kill out and survive a day. As for surviving execution, I don't think that part's as good because everybody's just going to accuse you of having been devil's advocated, and now you're going to waste 2 executions of town. At least you didn't die during the first one, but still. Yeah, is it that cool to play? Again, with the execution thing, you're going to get accused of being a devil's advocate. With the attack thing, I mean, like, it's worse than Soldier then. And it's a lot cooler to prevent kills with something like Monk or Innkeeper. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to give it a B tier. I think it's not that great. Fortune Teller. Each night pick 2 players. You learn if one of them is the demon. Nice tech right there on the movement where I did absolutely nothing with that momentum. You learn if one of them is the demon. But one good player misregisters to you. That is a really powerful ability. It's a super common bluff because it's very powerful and allows you to create rolls, but it's good enough that people want to trust it, you know? Like, it's not only used as a bluff. I think I've in trouble here. Okay. I got a thing. You know, it's pretty good though. It's super powerful, and I think it's a big part of what this game is about. It's got its own little misinformation built in, along with the fact that it gives you great information, and the demon might want to leave you alive to frame you as bluffing it. The demon might want to kill you because you get super great info. Overall, I think that Fortune Teller is just a S-tier character design for Blood on the Clocktower. Ah! Oh my gosh, I'm so lucky. Okay, let's put that in S. Okay, what is next? That looks like the Gambler. It's kind of weird looking this mall. Dang, was that really the last room of this? Wow, that level flew by. I guess it was 14 minutes. Man, I got 2 levels left to do a lot of these. This could have ended up being very poorly timed. We may have to do a B-side while we do these. Maybe I misjudged. Maybe my speedrun record was like an hour 15. That feels way too fast. I feel like it was an hour 48, but I don't know. I guess I usually have like 50 minutes on Summit, I think. So, because it's hard and super long. Okay. The Gambler's ability is each night pick a player. That player, I almost said dies. Each night pick a player. Right, pick a player and a character. You're gambling them as the character. You pick what you think they are, or something along those lines. I mean, it's up to you, right? If you're wrong, you die, which is huge info. It's really good info. You can confirm people as long as you're not poisoned. You dying is physical proof that your ability actually worked sometimes. You could also be killed because it's BMR. Man, Gambler is great design. Great character design. Seriously. It fits in BMR very well. I'm trying to decide I have... Let's see. I am actually going to semi-order these, but not a ton. I'm moving engineer down. Oops. Ah! Nice one. There's sort of a top of A tier forming here. I might make a division line at the end where I say that. Gambler's going in top of A tier. It's very interesting. It's fun to play. It really is about the gamble and gaining info and deciding when you is enough and not pushing your luck too much. It's very cool. Yeah, great design character. I don't think it's S tier design character. Right, yeah. Okay, I'm taking the Dreamer down from here. The Dreamer gains plenty of info. I think that it's kind of... I don't think it's as well designed. I think a lot of this is about what design... The design philosophy of the game and all that, you know? Yeah, I think the rest of that S tier makes sense. Okay. The next character is the General. The General's ability is... Learn... Each day the storyteller tells you whether they think good or evil is winning. I'm just going to go off of base General. Some storytellers like running that with a very loose, I think evil is winning by a tiny bit, I think this and that, but I'm just going to go off of base. Hey, I suck at this level. It's been a long time. Can't wait to do the battle and fight while doing this. What just happened there? Okay. Some storytellers like to make it sort of loose, but I'm just going to go off of the general principle. Oh my goodness. I'm going to go off of the general principle of good or evil or neutral is what options you have to say. Do you know the definition of insanity? Come on. Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. Thankfully, I hope that nobody's going to watch this for the Celeste content specifically. General. It's interesting. I have never been a massive fan of it, but I think the info is pretty useful. I think it's a really easy bluff, but if you believe it, I think the info is pretty useful because it lets you know if town's on the right track or not. It gets more powerful as the game goes on for sure, and it's not something that a demon is usually going to want to kill very first, so, you know. Okay, I'm gonna just put it in like mid A tier. We'll divide this later. I'm putting it at the bottom of good A tier. I'm putting this down. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't know. I feel like Dreamer is too swingy. It's controversial. I'm putting it in A tier, but I'm putting it in my like angry section. Yeah, that bottom section is angry A tier. I think they're A tier, but you know. Man, I'm getting distracted. I'm also gonna like lose my voice. Okay, what's next? The Goblin. Oh my gosh, the Goblin. I don't even know how to talk about the Goblin. The Goblin's ability is when you are nominated, if you claim to be Goblin, and you are then executed. Ooh, why did I do that? And you are then executed, then you win. That's it. Your team wins. That's important in case you're the Alchemist Goblin and people somehow trust you. Yeah. The Alchemist Goblin, not the Alchemist Goblin. The Goblin rules the script. If the Goblin is on the script, even if the Goblin is not in play, even if the Goblin is in play and somebody else is just saying it, the Goblin rules the script. It is very powerful for the evil team. I think it's fun to play because you can not claim Goblin for a while and then change later, and you can play out at evil the whole game. There's a lot of ways to play it, but I think that it can be really annoying. I'm just taking these at random, aren't I? This is not speedrun. I think it can be really, really annoying as good team to have the Goblin on the script because it feels like every player you execute is going to claim Goblin once they're outed, and then you just have a bunch of outed evils sitting around, and one of them can easily be the demon, and you feel like you can't execute them. So, I don't know, you know? Looked away for a second. I'm gonna put it in A tier, because it's really powerful. It can lead to a lot of fun, but I don't think it's S, because as far as is it fun for the town standpoint, it can really not be. Godfather. Godfather is from a game design. Man, this is kind of a opposite of the last one almost, I feel like. Godfather is a character I have not ever really heard somebody say that's my favorite character to play in the game. It can be fun because you can get extra kills and stuff. Although if you coordinate poorly with your demon, you can hit the same person. But it is a very well-designed character, I think. It modifies the outsider count, which is great because outsider modification allows for questioning of worlds and more outsider bluffs and stuff. Man, I suck at this level apparently. Or I just never take this route. I feel like I've never seen this room. Yeah. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a cool character. I don't think it's S because I don't think it's extremely powerful for the evil team. But knowing what outsiders are in play is huge. Possibly adding an outsider is huge. Yeah, it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. And getting kills is big. So I'm going to put it in A tier with these other minions up here. I think that it is a powerful minion, and it's just a solid game design one to have. And I think it's fun to play as. You come with bluffs, and -1 outsider while taking away an outsider can allow your team to bluff better because you can fill in that outsider count in general. Yeah, I think it's good. Speaking of outsiders, next we have the Golem, whose ability is you may only nominate once per game. If that player is not the demon, they die instantly. Man, Golem is not going in one of the upper tiers, I'll tell you that. I think the Golem is a poorly designed outsider. Like, the Golem is like, it has basically the opposite of the Slayer ability, sure, but like, you know, if you know, then you know. I don't know what I'm saying. Right, if you find out that you just nominated the demon, unless you were poisoned because somebody bothered to poison the Golem, and you can't be the drunk because you're already an outsider, then, like, I don't know, now you just execute the demon. You already nominated them. I mean, sure, it can be bluffed, but it can only be bluffed that you just nominated the demon, and then people will not believe you if it wasn't, right? Not being able to nominate at the end of the game is pretty big. That's basically the only downside for it, is that if you are still alive in Final 3 and you have not nominated yet, then you can be in real trouble. But Town is usually smart enough to get rid of you before that, especially if your ability like didn't go off or something. I don't know, man. Yeah, I think it's poorly designed outsider. I'm having to decide between B and C tier. I just think that evil fears it. You can just straight up kill a minion or find the demon. I'm putting it in C. It is a poorly designed outsider in my opinion. Next is the Goon, which I think is a greatly designed outsider. The Goon's ability is if the first player to pick you at night is drunk until the next night, and you are converted to their alignment. This means that you can be switched to the evil team, which means you don't always want to tell people that you're the Goon, because it would suck if they found out you were the Goon and then you got switched to the evil team, and then you were executed. Although sometimes you want to be executed then because you get locked in on the evil team, you know? Yeah, the Goon is a A-tier character. It can be really stressful for some people to play, but I think it's a great outsider because it can really provide downsides. I don't know, just the fact that you never know which team they're going to be on can really change things. And now we have to do a boss fight where we're getting shot at while doing these. Okay, on to the next outsider, the Barber. The Barber is... The Barber's ability is when you die, the demon gets to switch to people's characters. I think that this ability can be very harmful. I like the fact that the demon can choose to not use it. Often the demon just switches themselves with a minion, because if they end up switching to townsfolk, they not only confirm both of those players, but they also confirm the Barber, which feels very anti-outsider to just confirm 3 goodies. So it's generally used to switch the demon. And I think not knowing if the demon has swapped or not is big, and not being verifiable as the Barber is big if they only swapped evil. I don't think the Barber is very fun to play as, though. I mean, there's a few that you just have to hide, right? But at least, like, the Klutz has something happen with them, right? Yeah, you know what? I am... Where did I put the Golem? I put the Golem in C tier. Okay. No, balls. I just looked at the tier list and died. I'm looking at the stuff in B tier, though, and is it that bad? Kinda. Yeah, I like the characters in B tier. I just don't love what they do for the game or playing them that much. So, yeah. I'm putting it in B tier. Nice. Okay, we're back. The Gossip. Every day you may make a statement publicly. If it is true, a player dies. I think the Gossip is super cool. Very fun for BMR-like scripts where there are multiple deaths. Very cool that you can risk assess whether you want to keep making true statements or not. Yeah, I don't think I need to talk about the Gossip that long. I think it's an A tier. I don't think it's S tier, but I think it's similar to Gambler, and it's an A tier. It's the top of A tier for me. Nice dash. Nerd. Okay. Is that the Grandmother? Yeah. Okay, we already did the Bounty Hunter. Two just glasses characters. The Grandmother. You start the game knowing another character, knowing another player that's good, and knowing their character. And if they end up switching to evil, then you'll get a new grandchild, so that's interesting. If they are killed at night, then you die too. Very powerful ability. I don't think the killed at night comes into play that often. At least I haven't seen it come into play that often. Yeah, honestly, really good character. It's really fun because you generally start with somebody you trust unless you were poisoned, in which case you end up ultra trusting an evil, which sucks. But I think it's fun. I just had a game the other day where I was the grandmother to a politician, and after a snake charmer took over from the demon, I convinced the politician I was the snake charmer that had become the demon, and that was hilarious, and they followed me for the whole game, and we won as good. It can lead to really silly stuff like that. Wow, I suck at this room. I'm so focused. Okay, let's put this up. This is an A tier character. I'm putting a lot of BMR in A tier for how much I dislike BMR. I don't dislike it. It's just my least favorite of the three. Heretic. Oh my gosh, Heretic. What are the rules? So I have to give reasons. I don't think Heretic's fun to play as because you can't tell anybody you're it, and it's hard to, like, if you really want to be trying to throw for your team, just play politician. You know? Yeah. No. I think Heretic is not very fun for the evil team because it can just win the game for It's not very fun for the evil team because if they do find out about it, the demon just kills themselves and then the game's over, and that's not very interactive. It doesn't feel good to win that way, I think. I would assume, at least. Yeah, no. Heretic is... No, it's worse than Barber. I'm putting it in C tier. It's a much better designed outsider than Golem. It's not that much better. I think it's... Yeah, I'm putting it in C tier. Huntsman. Oh, man, Huntsman. Huntsman should be an outsider, honestly. Huntsman is bad, I think. A lot of people run it that you can pick every night. Right, I should probably say what its ability is. Oh, Heretic's ability, I missed it, is even if you are dead, whichever team wins, loses, whichever team loses, wins. So, yeah. Huntsman. Setup ability that the Damsel starts in the game, which we talked about earlier, which is a really brutal outsider. Once per game in the official rules, but many people run it each night. You may guess who the damsel is. If you get them correctly, then they became a townsfolk. That's big, except there might not have been a damsel in the first place that counted against outsider count. You just added an additional loss condition for the good team, if that's the case. And what was your reward for it? Removing that additional loss condition? Confirming yourself to one player? Where's your ability? Like, you're a do-nothing at an outsider, basically. A really rough outsider, too, because the Huntsman rarely gets it, so... Yeah. As soon as I, darn it, die there, apparently, I'm putting that straight into C tier. It is bad. And even with the additional rule, it would probably only basically be B tier. Hey, finally another demon. Is this only the second demon? I guess they're all just late in the list. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of characters left. Good news is... Oh, I just said that last time. I looked away again. Good news is that Summit is long. So I might have to pick up the pace in Summit, though, once the flags appear and I know how close I am to the end. The Imp. For being the, in quotes, basic demon, hold on, I'm gonna get distracted like reading this. It is pretty cool. The Imp's ability, other than killing a player each day, is that it can, it can kill itself at night to pass on the Imp to one of its minions, which is a great ability and has only led to my players suiciding as the Nodashi, thinking that was every demon's ability once. Good times. Yeah. So, it's a really cool ability. It's fun how it interacts with stuff like Monk. I've had that happen at my house. It's really cool to have an escape hatch that has to be chosen to be used, unlike Scarlet Woman, which we'll get to and is really good. But Scarlet Woman is automatic, right? It's cool to have the evil team have the chance to escape if they're able to get away with not being killed once suspicion's on them. It's a great starter demon in Trouble Brewing too. I think it is. I think it's great. I'm putting it in A tier for sure. It's a very interesting, well-designed demon. And like the Fengu, honestly, I'm thinking about putting it in S tier. I think that, yeah, actually, after this boss room, I'm putting it in S tier because like the Fengu, it gets people talking about possibilities. The demon can die without the game ending, which is huge. Of course, that's also true for the Scarlet Woman. Yeah. No. It's very similar to Fengu, I think. So, I'm putting it there. Innkeeper. Each night, pick 2 players. They cannot die. One of them is drunk, but you don't know which. Very interesting character. I actually wasn't a huge fan of it until last night. I had my first game where I played as it, and I protected people twice from an Oho as well, which is pretty funny. Yeah, I actually realized it's much more controllable than I thought. it's like Monk, but you don't pick the best info rolls, and you pick all the middle characters that might die. Or you pick like Empath on nights when they're not going to learn new info. I think it's really good. I'm putting it in A tier. It's really good. And it adds another layer of interestingness to the game for the storyteller and everybody to deduce who was drunk. And I think it takes skill to play. I mean, you have to be careful about who you're picking because you have to know that the storyteller is probably going to drunk the worst option. What's next? I can't see it. I'm flying. Oh, Acrobat. The Outsider I forget exists. Man. Acrobat's ability is... Oh, that's the end of that. Acrobat's ability is... if one of your neighbors is, I think, poisoned or drunk. Might just be poisoned. I think it's poisoned or drunk, though. You die. I don't know, man. I don't feel like this is really an outsider. It is... It gets you info. And you die for it, but, like, you ever heard of the gossip? Like, sure, I guess you could be killed by the demon at night, but then, I don't know, it's generally obvious. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's that. Ugh, does it go in C tier with Heretic and Golem? No, it goes in the bottom of B tier. It's not ordered, but it goes in the bottom of B tier. I think it's not great. Yeah, I don't think it's that well designed as far as an outsider goes. Cool, we got through that chapter. That sure took a lot longer. On to Summit, which is the longest one. Oh my gosh, do we have like half the characters left? They've just now got... I think Shigenja's the last one. Oh my gosh, there's still one off screen. Alright, we gotta pick up the pace here. We're like halfway there. I mean, we're like halfway through the game too. This level takes forever, and I'm gonna be rusty and slow. Okay, I think that's Al-Hadikia, right? They like use that instead of the Fez sometimes. I like the Fez though. I don't know why. They use that for Jin sometimes too. Al-Hadikia. Oops. Al-Hadikia's ability is right. Double dashes. I got 2 dashes now. Al-Hadikia's ability is you instead of killing 1 player at night, you pick 3 players, and they're announced in order, 1 at a time, and given the choice to live or die. If after all protection effects and such happen, all of them are alive, then all of them die, which is pretty brutal. Al-Hadikia is fun, but you instantly know what the demon is. You just kind of have to play on an Al-Hadikia script specifically for it. There's really no point in having other demons on an Al-Hadikia script, unless you have other ones to contest with those, because you know if it's an Al-Hadikia after the first night, right? Oh, I didn't go for that. Yeah, it's cool. I don't know. It's cool. I don't think it's A tier. I don't think it's A tier. Or maybe it's lower A tier. I've never actually... I've been in quite a few Al-Hadikia games, and I've never seen one really go well for the Al-Hadikia. I think it's a B tier demon. I think it's B tier. For B tier. Or lower A tier. No, I'll put it in lower A tier. There's like a divide happening in A tier. Like at Devil's Advocate. Everything above Devil's Advocate is like actual A tier. Okay. Eee, I wasn't looking. Okay, Investigator. Oops. Yeah. Nice save. Slick. Investigator. I think Investigator is interesting. Actually, no. I'm not a huge Investigator fan, honestly. At the your ability is at the start of the game, you learn 2 players, and you learn a minion that one of them is. I think that, like, I feel like I've never seen... It's very rare that a storyteller doesn't give the Recluse as one of the Investigator pings, and it could be the only one, you know? It could be the one that's actually registering. I think Investigator is not fun to be in the pings of. This is not the way, is it? This is a strawberry path. Gosh, tell me this isn't, like, Okay, I can go up here. Good. I don't think it's that fun for the evil team to just have one of these is evil, you know? I think Noble is a far better investigator. Yeah, I'm putting investigator in B tier. It's good, but it is very often used to be the drunk or the recluse. And I don't know. It's just not that fun to play, I think. I've played it quite a few times. It's like my most played role. And often you're imposed bogus. I don't know, man. Okay. The Juggler. We need to speed up on these. The Juggler. Your ability is on your first night, in case you turn into this philosopher, or first day, you can choose 5 people, up to 5 people, to juggle a specific roles, and at night you learn what they are. Juggler is fun. It is rough that you can die after juggling and not find out your number, but people are pretty good at disguising stuff like that, and it honestly means other people can beta kill by being right about their juggles. It ends up being good for the demon to just figure out who people are if they're bluffing juggler, and often if other people are doing fake juggles, they'll say real info, and the demon will find stuff out from that, so that makes it less good, but I think it's fun. Some people hate it. I'm putting it like right here around general. So those minions are kind of their own chunk. It's in the upper A tier. The Klutz, Outsider. When you die, you have to pick a player. A character that would make it real weak. No, it wouldn't. You have to pick a player. If they're evil, you lose. It's probably your team loses in case you're somehow evil. Man. Yikes. The Klutz is... Oops, I thought that was a platform. The Klutz is really funny when it messes up, unless you're playing. But it is a really good outsider. It has reason to stay hidden, but it actually has its own objective kind of deal, you know? Barber has reason to stay hidden, but that's about it. Barber just stays hidden, you know? Klutz is A tier. Klutz is a great outsider because it gives the outsider themselves agency and they get to play the game. But they also have a huge impact and can be super negative to the good team. Can it confirm a good player? Yes. But I think that the drawback on it is far worse than something like Acrobat that we were talking about earlier. Is this a strawberry room? Yeah, I was going here thinking. Wait, no, maybe this is the real room. Night. You start the game knowing 2 players that are not the demon. Yeah, it's good. It's like, it's fine. Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. I don't think it's that fun to play as. Like, you're probably gonna get given a minion. I think it's like, I don't know. It can be worse than Investigator to play as. I need to place this while I didn't focus on this. I'm putting it in B. I don't think it's that great. Like, sure, it can give you good info, but are those players gonna be around at the end? Who knows? And otherwise, you're just sitting on those pings until the end, and then nobody's gonna leave you anyway. So, dang, I need to figure this one out. Legion. Oh boy, Legion. I really want to play a Legion game. I really want to run a Legion game. A lot of people hate Legion. Legion's ability is that, like, most people are the demon, but the storyteller picks the kills, so they generally kill off one of the Legion every night. Oh, finally. I am not good at this game anymore. I think it sounds really fun. It's fun to watch, but I think it's a little really frustrating for the Legion team once it's been figured out. And the good team. Oh yeah, their ability is also that good players are basically the only ones with voting power. Good people have to vote for something to go through. Yeah, power-wise and players having fun-wise, I'm gonna put it in upper B tier, just because I think a lot of players really hate it. And, you know, if 9 of you are gonna be on a team, it's important that most of you are having fun. You know, you don't want somebody to ruin it because they're just being a grumpy. Leviathan is next. The Leviathan does not kill at night. I think it's after day 5, evil just wins. And if good executes good players twice, then they lose. Leviathan is a whole nother game, and in my opinion, from the small amount I've seen, it just kind of doesn't work that well. Ugh. I'm putting it in C tier. It just kind of doesn't work that well. You would hope it would, but I think Leviathan almost should be a fabled. The demon can't do much, right? Yeah, everybody knows it's Leviathan too, so I don't know. You just kind of sit there and try and be not suspicious. It's bluffing the game, which you already do normally. Librarian. At the start of the game, learn 2 players. One of them is an outsider. You learn what they are. One of them is a specific outsider that you learn. That's what it is. Yeah, you learn 2 players and you learn like one of them's the drunk. That's the main use case, I think, for Librarian often, is doing exactly that. Is giving a little bit of a ping of where the drunk might be. I think it's powerful. I think it's underused because it's not very fun to just confirm a regular outsider. It can be good to confirm one that wants to hide. It can be good for the klutz to have somebody they can trust. But then the klutz just has somebody they can trust, and the librarian's not a high priority target. So, you know, unless the spy's doing it, then that's really funny. The spy can really screw town over with the librarian too. I've seen it happen a lot of times. I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna put it in B tier. Honestly, it's not that great. It can be good. It can be good, but it can also be used to confirm the spy, which is true about a number of things. Why am I getting that strawberry? I'm so distracted. Mediocre. What am I calling this? Mediocre multitasking. Accurate. Yeah. That's just how I feel about it. It's upper B tier for sure, but it's upper B tier. Wow, I need to look at this one. Okay. Little monster. Your ability is that you... Right, I have 2 dashes. Cool. Your ability, one player is not the little monster specifically. It is that the minions pass around the demon basically holding it. And the storyteller dictates the kills, and there's one more minion. I am a Little Monster hater. A lot of people like Little Monster. I'm a Little Monster hater. I don't like that the storyteller controls the kills. I think it leads to awkward situations where the storyteller has to kill minions to make it fair in the end, and it feels really bad if the minions are playing well. And it feels really bad for good if they don't kill minions, because then it ends up being a 50-50 if you know who the evil team are. Especially if it's been made obvious. I don't know. I don't like the storyteller dictating the kills. I think maybe that the little monster people should get to vote on them, but if it's a certain number, I don't know, man. I'm just not a big fan of how it works. I understand that a lot of people like it, but I'm gonna have to put it in B tier. I'm not gonna put it in C because it's much better than the Leviathan and stuff, but I'm not a huge fan of it. Okay, Leech. Leech. Man, this is another one that's really popular that I'm not the biggest fan of. Leech's ability is at the start of the game, you pick a player, and they are poisoned for the whole game, and if they die, you die, but you can't die otherwise. It is cool, but based on what that random first pick can be, the leech target can be extremely obvious or extremely hard to decipher. And I don't think that's super fun for either team. It's fun to be out at evil, it's fun to find the leech and accuse them of being the leech, but I just can't put it in A tier because of that. That order of demons. Okay. Oh, Lunatic, boy. Lunatic is... Lunatic's ability is that you think you are the demon. Man, Lunatic can be really fun. It needs to be used in small doses so that people don't always expect a Lunatic. And the demon needs to be experienced in figuring out how to actually stop the Lunatic from making them lose. Because sometimes the Lunatic can out-demon you and you lose. Sometimes the Lunatic... Oh yeah, the demon gets informed of the Lunatic's picks for who to kill at night so they can keep up the guise. Sometimes the Lunatic picks the demon and then the demon breaks the illusion and then it's obvious who it is. The whole what minions to give it is really hard without having Poppy Grower or Marionette on the script. And then if those are on it, people might come to expect they're the Lunatic if they get those. You know, it's hard to keep a Lunatic under the guise. If you can with the minions, then it can be really interesting. I'm going to put it at bottom of A tier. Along with like Dreamer and stuff, it has problems, but if used well, it's really interesting character and can be super fun. I mean, possibly my favorite game I've run with my people is my one Lunatic game so far. It was hilarious. Everybody had a good time. Actually, the Lunatic and the Demon both came to the conclusion they were the Lunatic on the same night because the kill didn't go through and the assassin had killed somebody and the demon didn't realize they had an assassin, and that was pretty funny. Yeah. Anyway, Lycanthrope. Man, we are just in the chunk of characters that I'm not the biggest fan of. Lunatic I like. I really like Lunatic. It just has some issues. Lycanthrope's ability is that you pick the kills at night, and you're the only kills at night if you pick a good character or a good player. As the Lycanthrope, you get so much info. It can be a huge demon bluff though, but like people are gonna kill you at some point during the day, right? And I don't know. I think it's too powerful. I think it's too much. It takes away the demon's agency. The demon has to just keep trying to kill you every night if they figure out who you are and hope you hit an evil player, but then you're going to know you hit an evil player and then you out them. It's way too much control and info. I just think it's too much for a good player to have. It should honestly be like a Traveler or something, so I'm putting it in B tier. Magician. Magician is that at the start of the game, when the demon learns their info, you are listed as one of the minions. It's like an extra minion. And the minions learned you as one of their two demons, so they don't know who's on their team. It's a interesting role. However, you don't know who those people are, obviously, so it's really hard to know who to bait. And I think evil usually figures it out pretty fast, and then your role is useless. So you can catch somebody on day one, and it's funny, and it's powerful, but if you don't, then that's it. And you didn't get much out of it. And now you're an easily bluffable role, and so on and so forth. It's a B tier role again. It doesn't work too well in execution. Poppy Grower is way better, but we'll get to that. Alright, we are at level 5, and then the summits after this. We need to speed up. Time to accelerate. The Marionette. Man, the Marionette is a very interesting case, because the Marionette is mostly good that it's on a script. Not that good that you have it. Which makes it really hard to place. I'm going to place it as the character existing at all, I think, on the script. I mean, the Goblin was kind of rated for being on the script. So, yeah. Dang, I need to not keep doing that. But I'll have time to do these otherwise. On the script, the demon and the minions can claim anybody as the marionette and bluff it, and good plays in a much more cagey way because they're scared they might be the marionette. That is huge. The marionette's ability is you sit next to the demon, you are actually evil, but you think you are good. As a minion, it's not that great. You're poisoned, so you're like the drunk. Yeah, I don't know. If the demon tells you, all you can do is be a minion with no ability, and if the demon doesn't tell you, you can still accidentally find the demon. So, it's kind of an in-betweener. I'm going to put it in A tier because of what it does on the script, though. But I'm going to put it in lower A tier next to the Alhadikia and the Goblin. Okay. Assassin. Your ability is once per game, you may kill somebody, and this goes through any form of protection. It even goes through Goon, which is crazy. I think it's fun. I don't think it's that crazy, though. One kill is nice. One kill through protection is, I mean, like, how often is their protection really blocking the demon? That they need the assassin to do this? I don't know. It's cool that it interacts with the Goon. I don't think it's that crazy. I'm putting it in A tier, but not. It's just a solid character. It's just a solid character. In BMR, it's cool because it adds another kill, which adds more versatility. That's what brings it to A, really, is that you can add another kill that people aren't sure where it came from. Was it Godfather? Was it the demon was different? You know, whatever. Oof, I suck at this level while focusing on this. Mastermind is controversial, I think. Or I just hate it. Mastermind's ability is if the demon is executed, the game goes on one more day. Of course, the demon won't be killing anybody that night, but with something like an assassin, you can simulate it. If a player is executed, then the man, what happens? I'm so focused on this level, it's getting hard. If a player is executed, then their team loses. Mastermind is really annoying on BMR. It's part of why I avoid BMR, is because just the prospect of did we get the demon, it might be a Mastermind day, is so threatening. But I think in practice, I don't think the Mastermind actually pulls off a win that often, because I think if you actually figure out the demon in BMR, you often now are confident that there were no demon kills that night. I'm going to put it in upper B. I think it can be good. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm going to put it in upper B. Some things have to be B tier. Do I like? Yeah, I like some of the other ones a lot more. I think Mastermind, part of the things was, is it fun to play against as good? And I think that worrying about a Mastermind day every day is not very fun to play against. I think it's annoying to have to think about. I mean, yeah, the game's about thinking, but I think it's a lot. Next is, I thought that was the Cult Leader again, making a revenge trip to C tier. The Cult Leader, no, not the Cult Leader, not the Cult Leader, the Mathematician, their ability is, come on. Okay, their ability is each night you learn how many players' abilities will malfunction due to another player's ability. Specifically due to another player's ability, I believe. Which means it doesn't trigger on the drunk, I think. If I'm right about that. And it, yeah, I'm not 100% sure. But it's an interesting role. A lot of people think it's too much info to work with, but I think it can be pretty powerful in finding out what the demon is on S&B, and I think it can provide really good info, and it's often not a demon kill candidate just because, like, you know, it's not the best. So, yeah, I think it goes in bottom of A. It's good, but it's not that crazy. This is it, the home stretch. Oh crap! You gotta be kidding me, Madeline. It can't be the home stretch. I've got so many rolls left. How many do we have? 30. All right, we basic. Oh my gosh, there's 14 per row. It means we need to get through 2 of these per flag, almost 3. Okay, we're speeding this up big time. The mayor. The mayor is a really cool ability. No, it's not. It's actually not that cool. The mayor's ability is that if there are 3 players left, and you execute nobody, you win. A mayor win is fun to get. A mayor bluff is annoying, and nobody will ever believe you're a mayor. Yeah, I think mayor is going in B tier because I think people rarely trust it. They'd rather just win the game by executing the demon if you're already at 3. Even if they trust you, you might be poisoned, etc., etc. You know the drill. Mazephiles. Mazephiles, you learn a secret word at the start of the game. The first good player to say it becomes evil. That is super interesting. I think that people in servers that have played more find it far too easy to find somebody willing to turn evil. You just go, want a Mazephiles word? And they go, yeah. And then you turn them evil. I think it should be more like a puzzle trying to trick people into saying it. I think it's more fun, but that's just my personal opinion. But it's very powerful because you bring an evil townsfolk to the table. I mean, simply having an extra evil is huge. So that's going in A tier. And you get to pick who that is, so you can snag a really good ability. Minstrel. All players are drunk if a minion is executed. Yeah, I mean, like, okay, nobody dies, so you know a minion's executed, and you skip a... I've never seen somebody run Minstrel. I'm not gonna lie, I've never played a game with it. I've never seen somebody run it. It feels like it should be bottom of A, but I don't know, because I've never seen it. Like, yeah, you know if a minion was killed. That's pretty good. It only really sucks with Bounty Hunter. It just seems really powerful, honestly, which is probably why it's bottom of A, because it's not that fun for the evil team to play with, because part of being executed is, you know, being able to... I guess demons can sink a kill to simulate Minstrel, but in BMR, there's other stuff that kills, so then they can't. I mean, you know... Oh gosh, we're at 21. Okay. The monk. Should I start going for strawberries? The monk. Each night, pick a player. They don't die to the demon. Or they're protected. Yeah, no, they are safe from the demon, which also protects from Vortox and stuff, which is weird. Solid A tier roll. I mean, it's just your classic protection roll. You find somebody to trust, you lie low. It's pretty fun. It's a solid one. And you can even prevent the imp from killing themselves, which is funny. The Moonchild, Outsider. When you die, pick a player. If they are good, they die that night, I believe. I don't think it's a great Outsider because it is too much info, and it's just a player dying. And like compared to the Klutz, it's a B Outsider. It's a B Outsider. It's not as bad as some of the ones down there, but it's just it doesn't feel like an Outsider. It feels like almost a townsfolk. Mutant. If you are mad about being an outsider, you are executed. I like the mutant because I think madness is fun, but some people hate it and some people just break madness immediately, and I think that makes it lame and it just skips an execution, and I don't know. It's a good hidden outsider, but because of that, it's not the best design ever. I'm honestly gonna have to put it in. It's cool because it results in double claiming, but I think Damsel just does it better. I'm going to have to put it in B tier because of that. Night Watchman. Once per game, pick a player. They learn you are the Night Watchman. I think this ability is lame and pretty boring. Like, pick a player, they trust you now, okay? If you pick an evil player, they're generally going to say that you did it anyway because they want, you know, I don't know. You're just making a little trust thing, and I don't know. It doesn't get you any info unless they lie about not receiving it or you think you were poisoned or something. So, I don't know. Atheist. The storyteller can break the rules. There are no evil players, and If they execute the storyteller, they win. As interesting as a evil bluff, I don't really love debating if it's an atheist game. I think that atheist games take forever, and because everybody thinks it's an atheist game for like 3 nights straight, everybody's in agreement of it, but they feel like they have to execute down to final 3 anyway, which I get, but that makes it really annoying. Okay, picking up the pace still. Noble. At the start of the game, learn 3 players. One of them is evil. Exactly, one of them is evil. Super good roll. I think that it is solidly up there with Chef and Clockmaker. I think it's way better than Investigator because it doesn't say what the minion is, so it doesn't make Evil Team feel like they kind of got scammed. I think it's really good. I think it is a very solid Night 1 info roll that really helps balance the game, and it's a good design. Finally, another demon. Is this our third? No, we've had some of the experimental ones. This is our third regular one, though. No, not this section. I suck at this section when I'm focusing. No Dashi. Your townsfolk neighbors are poisoned. Get ready for some extension cords. No Dashi is fine. I think it is interesting to play as because you have to choose when to kill your neighbors and how much poison to let happen without being detected. If you get a barber swap or a pit hag swap or something, those move, which is huge. But I think it's a little detectable and it doesn't have an escape hatch if those don't exist. So I'm going to put it in lower A tier because I think it's interesting, I think it's fun to find out, but I think it's a little too vulnerable to just die. Alright, am I on pace now? I don't think I am. Oh my gosh, I'm halfway through this, and I'm definitely not halfway through what we had. Okay, the organ grinder. Minion, people can't see the votes. You can only be voted out if you vote for yourself. I think it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I don't see it run very often. I've never been in a game with it, but it always seems interesting when it is. I think it's fun because you can be out at evil once people figure it out, and you can't die. Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna put it in lower A. Is it fun for the players though? I don't think it's that fun for the townsfolk. I'm gonna put it in B tier. I think it's frustrating for the townsfolk. And there's not much play around it, I think, you know, other than only doing 1 nomination or so. Okay, Oracle. Each night, learn how many evil players are dead. Dang, how do you do this section again? I'm so focused on these. I've done like 3 characters in this section. Okay. It's like boom, boom. No, that's what I've been doing. You just have to climb this, I guess. Right. I will get it. I'm not that far off of the time I was expecting, surprisingly, even though I did pretty bad. My best time must be better than this. Oracle. Yeah, I already explained the ability. I think it's pretty good. Especially in SMV where you have stuff like Fangu. On scripts with Imp, it's pretty good. There we go. Yeah, I think it's a very solid info roll. I think it's fun to bluff as and push worlds where certain players are evil. Yeah, I think that's just a solid A tier guy up here with like Monk in general. I think it's cool. Oh boy, Pacifist. Pacifist sucks, in my opinion. Pacifist's ability is that when a player is executed from your team, they may survive. The problem is that the storyteller often uses this to just sort of suspicion, or if it happened on a suspicious player, everybody just thinks they were devil's advocated, and it makes you waste another execution the next day. And people think you're the devil's advocate, so then they kill you too. So I think this is honestly one of the few C tier townsfolk. Pacifist as an outsider is a common joke, and it often feels true. Philosopher. I mean, what needs to be said about this? You can pick once per game, pick a character, you become that character, a good character to be precise. and a player with that character already becomes drunk. I mean, you can wait to not drunk people. You can greed whatever role you want. It's an incredible bluff as the evil team because it makes people think they're drunk. I mean, this is just an S tier role. We haven't had something in S tier in a while, and now it's too wide, but it's just an S tier role. Pit Hag. You can change your minions. Each night you pick a player and they change role. Nothing happens if you pick an already in play role. You can change your minions to different minions. You can change the demon. You can change where the demon is. Kills are arbitrary if you change where the demon is or what the demon is, so that it signals to the good team, to be fair, but it's so versatile. You can make more outsiders. I mean, this is an S tier minion. Some people hate it. Some people think it confirms good people, but it doesn't always, because you can always bluff that stuff happened when you change the evils, and it's so good. It's so good. Alright, Pixie. Pixie's ability is at the start of the game, learn a character that is in play. If you are mad about being that character, you gain their ability when they die. I think Pixie is super cool. I think people rarely break madness about being the Pixie unless they feel like they really have to. You can often gain cool abilities from it that were like once per game and stuff. It's a very interesting one. And it gives evil a good fallback if they're double claiming. Yeah, honestly, this might be S tier. It's A tier because it's not the most powerful thing in the world. It can kind of screw over good, honestly. It can kind of be better for evil, but it's an A tier character design-wise for sure. The Poe, demon. Kill one player each night, but if you choose not to kill a player at night, notably that means you can sync kills even when nobody's dead, then you can kill 3 the next night. I've realized now that this is a great character to bluff Minstrel as. It's pretty powerful. It can lurk in the shadows, and then suddenly the game just ends. Now, design-wise, is it an S-tier demon? It often feels unfair, and like you didn't realize it. I don't know. BMR, it's definitely an A-tier demon. It's pretty high A-tier. I'll put it up here. We don't have many demons on here yet. I'm not putting it in S-tier because I think that it's not the most fun to play or play around, but I think it's very strong. Next we have the Poisoner. The Poisoner is great. Oh my gosh, the Poisoner is great. Pick a player each night, they're poisoned. It is tough to play around, but it's constantly on people's mind in town. It's constantly thought about. It is extremely strong, poisoning people. It's a lot of player agency for you. It allows you to really use info you get from town, and it means town needs to stay quieter. It's really good. It's an easy S tier. Politician as an outsider. If at the end of the game the storyteller determines you were the main reason your team lost, you become evil and win with them. I always play both sides, so I always come out on top. The classic. It's a pretty good outsider because it's a good outsider if people realize that playing both sides is beneficial to them and they really commit to the evil side because they really want to win with evil. Because then they win if they win with good anyway. I need to diagonal there, I think. I'm sucking at this part. Yeah. It's a great outsider. However, if people are going to just play good with it, then it's not an outsider at all. It's just a character that you say, I'm the politician, I just want to be good. So I'm putting it at the bottom of A tier because many players are like that, and then it's just not an outsider. It's just beneficial that a good team has them on their team. Poppy Grower. The evil team does not know who each other are, and when you die, they are informed of it. Let's discount the issues it has with like vortoxins, if it's poisoned and if there's a cannibal and stuff, and just talk about it in general. I think those should probably be jinxed out and house ruled out. I think they are kind of dumb interactions, but It's really good, obviously. I mean, it can create very interesting games where you can make a very powerful evil team and they don't know who each other are. It's interesting in games like Legion. It's very good for having a lunatic. Yeah, it's huge. It's a free bluff for evil team though. It's an easy S tier. That's a massive character. Alright, looks like we've got 3.5 rows left and 7 checkpoints left, but I'm starting to suck because I'm very focused on it. What is that? Preacher. You pick a character, you pick a player each night, and if they're evil, you preach them and they lose their ability while you're alive, I think it is. Hugely powerful, and you want to stay hidden. They also learn that they were preached, so they don't think they're using their ability. Yeah, it's really powerful, but I think it can be incredibly frustrating for the evil team, and I think it doesn't have really many downsides other than you want to stay hidden, so I'm just going to put it in this sort of very powerful but not the most balanced section. People are going to disagree with this so much. Anyway, Professor. You may choose a player to revive once per game. They only revive if they're good. Or maybe it's they only revive if they're townsfolk. So if they're an outsider, they don't. I don't remember. Either way, drunk isn't on BMR. So, yeah, it's like, it's fine, but it's not on many scripts because other than Shabaloth, it's the only thing that can do that, right? Or like Al-Hadikia and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. It kind of goes in B tier. It's not very versatile between scripts. It's only really buffable by Shabaloth. It's generally confirmed as long as only one revive happens, so on and so forth. Psychopath. You may publicly kill a player each day during the day. You only die when you are executed if you lose rock, paper, scissors. Kind of a super funny character. I'm only going to put it in A tier because I don't know that it's that good. Having Outed Evil really can give good a ton of info about voting and stuff. But it's really annoying to get rid of. I hate when it's in little monster games. Yeah, I'm putting it in A tier, but like bottom of A tier. I'm putting it in this like problematic A tier section. Pucka. Each night choose a player, they're poisoned, and then the next night they die. It sounds really cool at first, and then you start to learn that it's really readable, and now everybody knows where your poisons were anyway, and you might miss a kill because people might execute your target. I hate to do it, but it goes in B. It's just not as good as you'd think. Puzzle Master. One player is drunk. If you figure out who it is, you learn who the demon is, but you learn the wrong info if you're wrong. This is just another, like, look at Sage, who learns 2 people to be the demon if they pull off a very hard condition, right? This is just, now you learn your name, now you execute your name. Oh, it was wrong. Guess you're not the puzzle. I'm drunk. I don't know. This is like they tried to make the drunk again, and it just didn't work to be an outsider. Okay, we're almost there. We've got 3 rows left, plus like the Kazali. Ravenkeeper. Awesome character. If you were killed by the demon at night, you get to pick a player and learn what they are. Huge. Super fun to bait the demon. Super hard to do it without getting town to hate you. Honestly, S tier character. Great design. Recluse. You might register as evil / the demon / a minion to... Man, I am screwing this section up. I need to focus. To people when they check you. The problem is you can just say you're the recluse, and generally people will trust you and they'll kill you early on, and it wasn't fun for you is the problem. Recluse is not fun to be. Recluse is interesting in the game, but it's just not fun to be. Which, yeah, I don't know, you know, it's just not fun to be. I'm putting it in B tier. I think it's cool. I think it's useful for storyteller stuff, but I think it gets found out really easily and then it doesn't matter anymore. We have to do 1 row per flag now, apparently. Riot, when people are nominated, they die instantly, and they may nominate again really fast to kill someone else, and this can continue. It's interesting on scripts like Kaboom. It's not really a demon you play regularly. It just doesn't fit in with the rest, and it often just dies. It's kind of goofy, but it goes on B tier with the rest of these. Sage. It's like the Raven Keeper, but you learn 2 people, and one of them is the demon if you were killed. But I feel like people only put it in a Vortox game, and then you learn the wrong info. But still, I think it's less cool than the Raven Keeper by a lot. I think it's a powerful role. I've never seen it go off, though. Man, I suck at this section because I'm focused on this. I'm putting it in bottom A tier. I think it's, yeah, it's okay. The Raven Keeper's way cooler because it has player agency to it. Alright, I need to focus on this. Sailor. Each night pick a player. They can't die. One of you or them is drunk. Wait, no, not they can't die. You can't die. One of you or the player you picked is drunk. That means that... yeah, you're often just drunking people for having an ability that makes people think you're the devil's advocate or the leech. I think that this is honestly... I'm of the opinion this is a C tier character. I think it's bad. I think it's fun for the storyteller, but I think it's practically an outsider. Saint. If you are executed, the good team loses. Great bluff. It is okay to be, because at least you do something. But the problem is people always save it for the end. I don't know. It's never executed in the middle. I think it really runs a game when it happens, and I think it goes in A because it's very punishing for the good team to have, and people don't believe it. But I think it's annoying to play with a lot of the time because half the game becomes, is it actually the Saint? And if you're evil trying to push on a real Saint, then you still have to get to final 3 with them. Man, I am really slowing down on rocking this game. Okay. Savant. Each day you may privately approach the storyteller to learn 1 piece of true and 1 piece of false information. Super fun puzzles. Super interesting if you don't get poisoned. S tier because I love the character and I'm running out of energy to put anything in A tier. It's like my favorite character ever. Some people hate it, but I think it's super cool, and I think it's really fun to solve the puzzle. No, I also have Amnesiac up there. Scarlet Woman. If the demon dies, you become the demon. Great for beginner players to have around. Great for experienced players to have around. You get confused if you actually killed the demon or not. It's just a solid A tier minion. It's really good. Seamstress. Pick 2 players once per game. Find out if they are on the same team or not. Very powerful role. It's just a solid role. It's just a really good role. Yeses and nos are useful if you weren't poisoned or vortoxed. You generally want to use it early and not save it, but if you save it, it could be even more powerful. So yeah, it's a really good role. Oh gosh, we're at 1. Okay. Shabaloth, and 1 is super easy. Shabaloth is kill 2 people every night. The storyteller might revive one of them, which makes it really obvious what you are, but at least you kill 2 people sometimes. Kind of bad. It's kind of a bad demon. It's interesting, but it's kind of bad. Slayer. Once per game, you may pick a character. I'm gonna just have to slowly click through this. Once per game, you may pick a player to shoot. If they're the demon, they die. Super interesting, and honestly S tier character because laying low is fun. You can get through the Saint and stuff, so on and so forth. Snake Charmer. The Snake Charmer is interesting because it is pick a player each night, and if it's the demon, you swap characters and alignments. It is an A tier character because it's interesting for the game. It's a push your luck character. If you switch, it's super good for the good team, but you probably lost. But it's really fun if you get away with it. It's an interesting character. Um, Snitch. The minions learn bluffs. B tier because it's really not fun to play. It's interesting. It's punishing for the good team, but it's not that interesting to play. You get nothing. Soldier is you are immune to the demon's effects, which is good, but it's generally not provable. It can be bluffed. You often get executed in the end. Honestly, B tier. Baiting the demon into attacking you is not worth it compared to Ravenkeeper or Sage. Spy. S tier. You learn the whole Grim, and then you can do hilarious bluffs with like day 1 info roll, and not only that, but you might register as good to like the Undertaker and stuff, so your bluffs get even more confirmed info. It's huge. Alright, well, I guess I've gone through all the dialogue, so now, skip cutscene, and, whoa. Alright, we'll do this last bit. We have 5 minutes according to my thing. Oh, I guess we get to click through this slowly too. Steward, learn 1 player, they're good. Yeah, it's like fine. I think it's not that interesting. I think it's just like Knight. You learn, at least it's better than Knight actually. It goes in bottom of A tier. You learn a character, a player to trust, but like Grandmother's way cooler. And you could be poisoned and then it sucks. But that's true for most characters. Sweetheart, Outsider. If you die, a player is permanently drunk. It's like how it's fun to hide as like Klutz, but like it's a hugely negative effect that you get no impact over. I think it goes in B tier because you don't do anything but hide, and that's not very interesting. Tea Lady. If your neighbors are both good, then they can't die. Pretty good A tier character. It's not S tier because it can really cause slowdowns because of Devil's Advocate and stuff, and you get killed basically as soon as you're found out. But it's really cool character. Tinker. Outsider. You can die at any time. It's very interesting for BMR. But I feel like it's generally somewhat obvious, and you're really just there for the demon to choose to kill you or not. I don't know, it kind of goes in B tier because, again, you do nothing as that outsider. I don't think I've put any outsiders up there that you do nothing as, right? Yeah, no, all the ones I've put up there are interesting to play as, which I think is important. You don't want players to not be having fun. Town Crier. Each day you learn if a minion nominated. That is a very powerful role. I think it's much more interesting in Flower Girl because there's more than 1 minion and people dictate nominations much less. I think it's cool. Undertaker, learn. There's my 1 strawberry pie or 2 strawberry. Undertaker, each night learn the character that was executed. Super powerful, bluffable by Spy, can be kind of broken against the good team, or against the evil team though, and you get killed pretty fast if you come out. But it's really powerful. I'm gonna put it up in S tier. It's fun to be, and it's fun to hide as, and you have to come out with your info at some point. Wow, we're almost there. We're so close. Getting tired and hungry. Okay, Vigor Mortis. Vigor Mortis is you can kill your own minions and then they permanently poison one of their townsfolk neighbors, but there's 1 less outsider and your minions get to keep their ability. I put it in B tier because I think that killing your minions is a big downside, and having -1 outsiders even more. You can't extension cord as well without outsiders. You don't get to pick which townsfolk is poisoned. I don't think it's that good. It's much better than Shabaloth at least. Virgin, hugely powerful. A tier because there's not much counterplay for evil and they can't bluff it, but it's very strong. It is, if you are nominated and it's a townsfolk, they are executed immediately the first time you're nominated, and that's the end of it. So you find out if somebody's a minion or an outsider or the demon, or maybe you were drunk or poisoned, but still, it usually insta-confirms 2 people, and that insta-confirms their info and they're not drunk. It's pretty good. Vizier. Everybody knows who you are. You can push through executions. I think it's B tier. It's interesting, but it's really hard to play, I think, and it often doesn't go well for them. And also nobody wants to talk to you often. Yeah, I don't know. You also can't die. That's important. At least during the day. But then you end up in Final 3, and, you know, you have to be killed by your own demon at some point. It's okay. Vortox, a demon, I think. It is huge just having it on a script. It can super mess with people's info. People never believe if it's a Vortox or not. You make all info generated by townsfolk false, and people have to execute each day or else they lose, which is huge as well, at least for day 1. It's interesting on a script. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's good. One last row. Washerwoman. You learn 2 people at the start of the game. One of them is the character you learn. I think this is just solid. It's more interesting than confirming a townsfolk or being an investigator. It gets you someone you might trust, but you get to do a little more investigative legwork for it than like Steward. I don't know. It's just slightly more involved. I think it's sort of next to Steward there. Widow, you get to see the whole Grim and poison someone permanently, well, while you're alive, but people know you exist. I think it's A tier, but it's definitely worse than Spy, because Spy, not knowing if Spy exists is pretty huge. I'm going to put it in that chunk of minions. Witch. Pick a player each day. If they nominate, they die. It just goes in A tier because it occasionally gets kills, and it's fun to play as, I think, but it's not the craziest. Zombool, you have an extra life. People don't realize you're still alive when you're dead. I'm putting it in B tier simply because it's not that fun to have on a script, and it is it also can't kill unless nobody was executed that day. I don't know, it's a mess. It's not on most scripts that are custom because people don't really like playing with it, I think. High Priestess, each day learn the person the storyteller thinks you should talk to the most. I think it's super fun. I'm putting it up here in A tier. I think it allows you to find people to trust, but if you're poisoned, it can really screw you up if you believe your info. I think you're somewhat confirmable. I think it's really good. Harpy, pick a player to be mad that another player is evil each day. If they are not, then they both might die. Really good minion. It's pretty good because Breaking Madness is devastating to the good team usually, and you can like lock someone in, you know, and possibly get 2 kills. Plague Doctor, and it makes people look suspicious that they're pushing people so hard. Outsider, if you die, the storyteller gains a minion ability. This is the only one that you do nothing but hide that I have to put up here because it is funny for everybody, I think. It pushes it over that much. Gaining a minion ability for the storyteller is pretty funny. Hatter is... Hatter I also have to put here because it's so devastating for the good team that I think it gets to go up 1. Hatter is, if you kill them, all the minions and demon get to pick new ones, which is like Barber plus. Last 3. Oho is a demon that gets to kill by character each day, and that is pretty powerful and a very interesting effect. I think that's an A tier demon. Kazali is the newest one. I don't know why I'm skipping Shigenja. You get to pick which players are your minions and what they are. I think it's pretty powerful. I haven't fully decided, it just came out. Shigenja, you learn at the start of the game whether the closest evil is clockwise or counterclockwise from you. I think that's an A tier starting role. Alright, we kind of rushed through those last ones, but I think we made it the last 5 minutes, so that's going to be the end of the video. I'm going to submit the speedrun at some point and upload this. Hour 59 is not really that bad for having done that on the side at the same time. And I will see you next time if I do this again. Goodbye.